Welcome to the Property Couch, where each week you get to listen to two of Australia's leading property experts. Bryce Holdaway, co-host of Location Australia on Foxtel's Lifestyle channel, and Ben Kingsley, chair of Property Investors Council of Australia and the 2014 and 2015 Property Investment Advisors of the Year.
All right, folks, join the Property Couch. Each week, Ben and I bring you the insider's guide to property finance and money management. Hello, mate.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Mate, I'm good. We've had an interesting week this week.
We have. We've been interstate.
We have been interstate, and we got a very special guest today.
We do.
But before we get there, Ben, a couple of things.
You going to go there?
No, go on.
The footy? I thought you'd be like, good win against Port.
No,
at home.
We've got too much in the lineup to worry about. Sort of gloating about how magnificent that
and
win
the Pies
was.
stumble.
Hey?
One of their first big tests. Nothing.
Wow.
You just move on.
They played someone inside the top 8, and
We've beaten other teams in the top 8, so you don't want to go there.
Hey, mate, we got better things to talk about today than your miserable form and my terrific form.
We're still third. That's all right. Where are you?
That's not important. You're only as good as your last game. Now, we are at the Property Buyers Expo.
We are this weekend in Melbourne.
This weekend. So, we are...
We're basically... So, this is how organised we are. Here you go, Bryce. I'll just get you my phone with all the details on it.
Yeah,
there you go. How's that?
So, on Saturday...
Don't say I don't do anything for this podcast and production.
I would never say that, mate. You are the gold star. You deliver so much gold.
You were stumbling, but this is funny.
Hey, listen... Ben?
Yes.
Do you want to know how to achieve financial peace in 5 properties or less?
I do. Well, I better know.
Because I hope you do.
Because I'm presenting that.
Because at 12:30 on Saturday, Jeff shared, you're presenting on that.
Yep.
At 2:30, we're doing a live property couch.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a call out to our couches, Ben.
Yep.
Our community of couches. If you're in Melbourne, come down and see us. There'll be a free link in the show notes.
Brand new guest, Bryce.
Greville Pabst.
Yep. One of Australia's leading valuers. And valuer on the block.
He was a guest judge on the
block. Judge on the block. He's also a property expert, so he's got lots to share.
We're going to grill him about the valuation process amongst a whole other things, including his experience on the block.
And the timing in the cycle in terms of how challenging it's going to be around valuations and what's happening in the market. So that is going to be incredibly insightful.
That'll be good. So for those people who aren't in Melbourne, Ben, or who can't turn up, we'd love for you to turn up, but if you can't, we'll be replaying that next week.
21st of July.
As our podcast.
That's on Saturday.
What's on the 21st of July?
That's when I'm presenting.
Oh, you just put that under his nose, and I'm thinking I'm already talking about this weekend. So it's given, isn't it? So the 21st of July.
We are. We've really produced this show really well. We've come out of the blocks. Actually, we've just come out now.
Start. And then on Sunday, we've got a special length masterclass, Ben.
We have.
You and I hosting How to Buy Your First Home.
Yeah, for Thursdays.
10 o'clock.
Going back to the old game.
10 o'clock on Sunday. If they're not eating smashed avo, Ben, they should be at Jeff's Shed.
And it's a bit of a deep dive. We've got some great people there.
It's a panel of 4. We're 2 out of 4 on the panel. And then I'm talking on Sunday at 12:30, 7 ways to build a property portfolio in a changing market.
Oh, the changing market bit. I'm interested. I might turn up for that.
So
we'll be there.
That'll be handy.
We'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Jeff's Shed. Come along to the Property Buyers Show.
And free tickets in the show notes. Now,
another
thing, Ben,
3
pick-up
tickets.
Tonight?
Yes.
Melbourne?
Yeah. So last week I was in Sydney and I did our very first event, our first meet-up for Picker. Mm-hmm. We had about 80 people in the room. Mm-hmm. It was great. We just did a Q&A session on, basically, and that's what Picker's all about, in terms of if you want to learn from others and you can network and mingle amongst colleagues and community, that's a great forum for that to happen. So Brad Beer, myself and Grant Foley, basically just took some questions from the audience, and that's what's happening tonight in Melbourne.
All right.
We're going, mate. We've got a lot of money in Picker. We're flying at Parkville Tennis Club.
Yep, nice.
So we're starting grassroots. This is what it's all about.
It just shows you're not spending your money on fancy hotels. You're spending money on where it matters.
Yep. So it's a last minute call. Eventbrite. Just Google Picker Melbourne.
Show notes.
And show notes. Yep. You'll be able to find it through the show notes. Get your ticket through Eventbrite.
And last thing, Ben, we're doing a webinar on the 8th of, in fact, it'll be the day after the 8th. It'll be the 9th.
9th, so all over
Thursday the 9th.
See this thing here, Bryce? I'm just pointing to it. Yeah, the 9th.
Mate, if I could just be like the surgeon like you, just walk into the operating theatre, put the gloves on, perform the surgery, take the gloves off and walk out, that'll be fine. But I've got to do a bit more
We've got it here today, Iverson. We were doing a video, we're doing all this other stuff. Iverson is loving this.
He's up and about, old boy.
He's super organised,
Just because you've got a super brain, you just walk in, you just get it out and then you walk out of here. Me and Iverson are left with the crumbs. come. So,
All right, Ivis is giving us a move on.
so webinar on the 9th of August.
Yep.
7 Deadly Sins, Ben.
Yep. Now, the last time we did this one, Bryce,
It was
massive response. Lots of educational content in there. Really challenging you about taking action.
Yep.
So I am looking for. You're right there.
Ivis, I'll get in trouble for dropping the pen, but you're okay, are you? So yes.
Yes.
So
Limited spaces though, Bryce.
well, here's the truth of that, Ben. Our software only allows for a certain number of people. Even if we want more in the room, we can't.
Yep.
So if you're interested, register straight away. Turn up early on the night and get in so that you don't get locked out, because that will be a full house.
And lots of questions. Remember how good the Q&A question session in that webinar was?
It was great.
It was a ripper.
It was great.
So we love that stuff. We love
it's
educating.
free. It'll be Thursday night. Details in the show notes, Ben.
Love it.
So
Register early.
All right. So that's the housekeeping. Now let's get to the main event.
And what main event it was?
This I've got to say to the listeners, Ben, and you were there, so you know this.
Yep.
It was the easiest interview we've ever had to do.
Oh.
Because what you'll notice in this interview, Ben, is you don't hear from us very much.
I don't even think I was even there.
I can confirm there was one sighting.
There are photos. There are photos that I was
you were
there.
there.
But look, the good news is great content, great conversation.
These girls were great.
They
They
were
are the
fantastic.
three birds from the Three Birds Renovation team.
Yep.
We had Erin, we had Bonnie, and we had Lana.
Yep.
So for our listeners who don't know about the Three Birds, after today, I'm pretty sure your interest is going to be piqued because they're incredible.
You won't forget them.
For those people who do know about the Three Birds, Ben, they are going to be very, very jealous of you, Ivis and me, because we were in Bonnie's dream home. And it is an epic...
It's a beautiful property.
It is a very, very
beautiful property. I tell you one thing. They are definitely
They're
organised.
authentic.
They're very authentic. They're very successful at what they do. But geez, they're happy to take the piss out of each other, aren't they?
Are we allowed to say the P word?
I just did.
but they're a very, very good trio because they all have strengths that they bring to the table and their weaknesses is covered by someone else. So,
that's it. They are, three making that wheel. They make a very powerful wheel because they all have strengths that they bring to the table.
All right, mate, so it's very exciting. Before we get there,
Yep.
got to do my mindset minute. I'm actually going to do, we did a Facebook Live by their pool, Ben.
We did.
Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, I was there.
You were there?
You were there? I'm in the video. Only just Ivis cuts me out most of the time. But that's all right.
That's obvious. Now we're standing by the pool, then we cut to the girls,
Yes.
and I don't know if you remember, but we asked the if you haven't seen it, go to our Facebook.
Yeah.
There's heaps and heaps of views,
lots of
so
fun.
everyone's loving having a look at it. But we asked them a question, Ben, about what's your favourite renovation tip.
Yes.
And Lana. Bonnie answered her question, and then they looked and said, I think that's your one, Lana. And then Lana goes, so what I think she meant to say is, done is better than perfect. So that's my mindset minute today, Ben.
Okay.
From Lana.
Yeah,
From Three
thank you,
Birds
Lana.
Renovations. Done is better than perfect. People think they're perfectionists, though, but they're really procrastinators.
Yeah.
So make sure that you remember and you bank that done is better than perfect.
Well,
So
in a rapidly moving world, it's fail fast. Like have a go. If you don't have a go, you're never going to know. Yeah, there you go.
Can we quote you on that?
Well, you just, yep, sure.
Love it. Hey, I reckon we should cut straight to the interview. It was loads of fun.
It was.
We flew up to
We had a
Sydney
ball.
on earlier in the week. Check this out, folks. All right, Ben, we are very lucky this week.
We are.
have got the opportunity to come up and spend some time with Three Birds.
Three Birds
From
Renovations.
Three Birds Renovations. So we've got Erin, Bonnie and Lana. Welcome to the podcast, ladies.
Hello. Very exciting. My first podcast.
Oh,
First
is that
podcast.
true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We feel a little bit privileged, don't you, Bryce?
That's exciting.
We saved it just for you.
Well, thank you. We'll be very gentle on you. But for the listeners that are aware of Three Birds, Ben, they are professional flippers. Is that what you would call yourselves? Renovators and flippers, or
I think
just
renovators. I think
Part
we've
of what
moved
we
on
do.
from flippers.
Okay.
We're renovators, and we're trying to inspire women to do that in their own homes as well.
Okay, so is that the audience that you're trying to appeal to, largely women, or is it just whoever is interested in
Whoever's willing to
renovating?
listen, really.
Bonnie will take anyone.
I'm really easy.
I
yeah.
discriminate more, and I would say that as more of the marketeer amongst us, we really target women, and 90% of our audience are women. And I think it's just because traditionally it's an industry that maybe hasn't been led by women at the forefront. You think of building, you think of men and tradies and builders. And we actually love that aspect of working with all the men in the industry. We find that very enjoyable. We think they enjoy it too.
Yeah, apparently they don't.
The truth comes out.
Well, they do hire on site.
We've got wonderful tradies that we work with, and I think that's a really important part of our business, is having a really great rapport with those guys and working as a team and kind of having each other's back. And Ez does that very well in operations.
Yeah, we have great tradies who we've used across all of the projects we've done. 9 projects now.
Well, I was going to say, so you're just starting on your 9th one, Erin, aren't you? When will people? Because I was going to say, Ben, for those who do know
the connection,
the Three Birds, they'd be familiar with their work. For our audience who don't know the Three Birds, they have a fly on the wall journey where when they're renovating a house, you can come along, and the good thing about what they do is they don't sugarcoat it. There's there's some real moments there, which I think is really appealing for you guys. But you're working on a 9th project now.
Yeah, we are. We're just finishing up on house number 9 at the moment. So we've done a number of flips. We've done some forever homes. So there's been quite a variety in there and what we've done along the way. This one's pretty exciting. It's a little extension and whatnot. So and as I was saying,
she's a real cutie. This one. This one's the polar opposite to our last property, which was my property. It's.
Isn't every property that you touch the polar opposite?
So have we given away?
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, that wasn't hard to be the opposite of your house, Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know how you beat this one.
No, so for our listeners who are not familiar with Bonnie's Dream Home, we'll put a link in the show notes so that they can go and check that out on YouTube. You mentioned 90% females, 10% male. I must admit, it's one of the ones I do watch with my wife. She wrangles me in, and I've got a friend in Perth who just sold their house in Melbourne. They've moved to Perth. They bought a house in Cottesloe.
Oh, nice.
And they're building a modern country barn by the beach.
God, love them. That's fantastic.
I can assure you that it's inspired by the three of you, and I think that'll be the case, particularly with the way that you guys bring a project together. But before we go down that path, Ben, I think it's really important to go to the backstory, because
absolutely.
You girls are 3 friends, but for the benefit of all of us, take us back to how the friendship was before this, how the conversation was, what was the moment that sparked what we currently have now?
Yeah, look, I think it was, Erin and I have job shared for many, many years. We've been best mates since we were 17. And so we've always had a very, very strong friendship, and then worked together as well, job sharing. And I think I was at her for 3 years. We can do this. Let's flip a home. Come on, we can do this. And
we nearly bought a house.
we did. Erin takes a bit longer than I'd like.
Yeah, I still look at that house now in Castle Hill, the one we didn't buy.
Yeah.
When houses in Castle Hill were still, I think, 500,000.
So who made the call not to buy?
I wasn't buying something till she finished work. She wouldn't quit a job because she has to have a job and be working, and then so I quit. And
Safety first.
Safety first.
Safety
But then
first
I took the jump. I did.
So it was.
I quit my job.
I wanted her to jump, and then she jumped, and then I was like, "Ooh, hold on a second. I need a job. I've got to work." So, but anyway, long story short,
then Lana had jumped.
and then Lana had already jumped.
Yeah.
You'd left the corporate world to find what was next.
Yeah, and so look,
in your own world.
These 2 girls were friends first. Okay, I am the third wheel. Let's just get that. Okay, I need to
But
get
you're
that
doing
out
a
there.
good job of getting in there.
Yeah,
it's almost like you're the
It's
cog.
my specialty.
Yeah, it is her
It's
specialty.
forcing myself upon people. So when I first met these 2 girls, they had a wonderful friendship, and I said, I need me a piece of that friendship action. So, and this was about 15 years ago at least.
Yeah.
And so I forced myself upon them. They let me wedge in between the friendship and become the third wheel.
Yes, that's true.
And so I've been friends with them for 15 years, and it's been a lovely friendship. But I was still at a very different life. I was in the corporate world, selling washing powder, selling cuppa soup, selling Dove soap. They're all almost the same thing, just repackaged.
And they're all white, which matches your colour scheme.
That's right, all in the white goods. And then I remember I got a phone call from Bonnie one day. In fact, I had quit my job. I sort of had just decided that working in the corporate world, I'd done that for felt like 15 years, and I knew
We
I
all
wanted,
had.
yeah,
All of us,
I
yeah.
wanted something more. I felt like I didn't want to just keep answering to my bosses. It just was starting to not feel like what I wanted in life. So I quit not knowing what I was going to do. In fact, I did a round of letterbox dropping as a job, and I can tell you now that is one of the toughest jobs going around. And I'm not joking.
Keeps you fit.
Pre-LinkedIn?
It was pre-LinkedIn. I think I earned about $30 for 3 hours worth of pounding the pavement. When you run out of brochures, you've got to go back to your car, and you need to get to that letterbox, but the brochures are a kilometre away at your car, and you hadn't calculated correctly.
Well, you didn't get one of those little wheelie
No,
trolleys?
so I quit after a week, the letterbox dropping,
Oh.
and then Bonnie rang me.
I didn't
and
know
said-
that. Did you know that?
You didn't tell us
told you that.
that.
No.
This is the first podcast. This
Yeah,
is stories
wow.
coming
It's
out.
all the first.
Yeah.
No, so I've even got photographs of me.
friendship.
The other thing is you have to collate all the catalogues on your dining room table before you head out and pound the pavement. That took me an hour and lots of paper cuts.
Yeah, see, I would have got it, and I would have been that kid who got it and said, yeah, I'm going to hand them all out, and then gone and chuck them in
shit,
the
it's gonna
bin.
Well, it's funny you should
Dump
say that. We've got a story. We won't digress on the podcast, but I can relate
If
to
I
that.
get there onto
Yeah.
that, they check you.
Because what happens is the
That's
3
why
or
I
4
never did
people
it.
who make a complaint, you pull those 6 aside, you throw them where you got to throw them, then you make sure those 6 get
Oh,
delivered.
see, he knows.
I wasn't
He
a
knows.
pro at it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
talking
you
from
weren't.
experience here, Ben.
She rang me one day and she said, hey, do you want to renovate houses with Erin and I? And I was like, oh, well, I have no renovating experience. Don't really even have much of a passion for it. I have no sense of style. Are you sure you still want me? She goes, totally, we need a sales girl. We need someone who can just talk. I was like, I'm in. I had nothing better on the horizon. Like the letterbox dropping.
Nothing.
I was comparing it to another round of the letterbox dropping.
That is not true.
Please.
She
But I
got
think-
offered a huge,
Oh, that was when we were
that was
huge
later.
job.
That was later when we were negotiating.
Yes.
But I think there was a turning point when I feel like there was a drunken night out. I remember this being in the front
Oh,
seat
God,
of
can
the
we
cab.
talk about this? Sorry,
Yeah.
No. I remember being in the taxi. You were in the back. I'd quit work. You'd quit work. And I swear you were quizzing her. What do you want to do next? What's going to happen? We've been out
I'm
with
very
Kirsty.
strategic, don't
So
you
we'd
know?
been out with another friend of ours at dinner. And I remember me going, I don't know what's next. I just want some time off and blah, blah, blah. And you being like, yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do. And then I swear that triggered
It
for you to go,
did trigger me.
oh, hang on,
Hold on a
something could
second,
happen
we can
here.
do something here. Look, I always knew that Erin, Lana and I have very, very different personalities and very different skills. So Erin is methodical. She is absolutely nails a spreadsheet,
Attention to
nails
detail,
a
dutiful and diligent.
Exactly. I'm the polar opposite of that. But I know that I innately can design a space. And
It's
I
like
can
a creative. I think of Bonnie as
Yeah.
an artist or an actor or a painter. And what comes with that is a whole lot of wild mood swings.
What do we put mine down to then?
I'm actually the least moodiest out of all of us.
But she's such a creative, and Erin is just the complete opposite. You know, no creative bone in her body.
Yeah.
No, but Erin is just so black and white, and they
Work.
job shared in event management.
Yes.
And so Bonnie would design the event, Erin would execute it. Renovating is one long event.
Yes.
You know, it's so that's why that works.
We
so
knew
well.
it would work, and I knew that it would work. You know, I'd grown up in a family where my parents, we used to move nearly every year of my life, pretty much, and they would flip homes, and I knew that we could do it. You know, I absolutely knew we could do it. And then there was Lana, and I knew that she just had this absolute skill in sales and marketing, and it was something that Erin and I didn't have, and so that was like the third piece.
Not that we really knew that what we were selling or marketing at that time.
No,
No,
we didn't.
but
We didn't.
we
Remember,
didn't
we
know.
even tossed up the idea. I remember having coffee at my house one day, and there was the talk of property styling.
Yeah.
And I think we concluded that
It didn't make much
basically
money.
Bonnie was the only one with the skill set to style houses. It wasn't really our thing, styling houses. And I was like, just the pure, pre-sales styling. And there's a big market out there. There's some people that
it's
have
a
done really
huge
well for
market,
themselves.
yeah.
So it sounds like you guys complement each other really well. It sounds like you're the
Yeah.
thinker, Erin,
Yeah.
you're the feeler, and you're the doer. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
We're all kind of doers, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're all
Ultimately,
pretty
it's
driven.
your core
And that's
strength.
what
When I go
binds
to a
us,
restaurant, I think I'll have my wife will go, "What do I feel like today?" And my mother-in-law will go, "I'm having the prawns." Right?
Oh, yeah,
So
that's-
it's your dominant
yeah.
trait.
I think you could be the feeler and I'm the doer.
Yeah.
Like I'll just,
Okay.
Yeah.
sometimes these girls think I'm driving them off a cliff, they'll ring
Yeah.
Louise stuff. And I say, girls, but I didn't think that. I thought that was just a normal decision in business. They're like, that is out there.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was like eating breakfast.
Yeah.
But for them, it was a big deal. Whereas Bonnie Bonnie is the designer. It's really, she's such a designer. All of our spaces, and when I joined and when we started the company, we did our first property, I had no idea if these two girls were good at anything that we were going to go and try and do. I had no idea how to renovate. I knew that. I did buy a tool belt though.
Oh,
Went
good.
straight out to Bunnings, bought a tool belt.
Yeah.
It had my mobile phone in it. That was on hand.
Oh no,
girls. What do we do next?
So embarrassing because I'd grown up on pretty much a work site. I knew kind of how they rolled, and she rocked up with a tool belt, and I swear all the tradies were like, oh my god.
The great thing
Who is this absolute
the homeowner
loser
with the
on
tool belt.
The
site?
great thing is I couldn't give a rat's.
Yeah.
I knew I looked like an idiot. I didn't care. I was high-fiving. I was like, hey, did you need a tape measure? I got one. And, I still do that to this day.
Yeah, we don't know what she does on site anymore.
No.
So that's obviously the time when you guys decided to go, that you wanted to do this, but it sounds like the parents thing might have planted some seeds for you early days. But how did it sort of evolve to be, okay, this is a good idea to, okay, well, we've got to start finding that first property?
Well,
Exactly what we did.
Yeah.
We just said, let's do it. One day, we all just agreed. We really pulled our resources financially. We were very fortunate to leverage off resources we had. We went, okay, let's put in, I think it was a couple of $100,000 at the time.
A third.
Totally a third money. This is our budget. Let's find a house. Went out, found the house. I still got the photo when we rang the agent, and Bonnie's like, "Yep, we got it." And she was jumping up and down. It was the middle of winter. And
it was
in my old
pretty
study.
much the cheapest house in Castle
the suburb.
That's what it was.
That's what we were looking for. The cheapest house in the suburb.
It was all we could afford. But
main road, corner block.
yeah, it was like
It's
so
basically everything
wrong.
you're not supposed to flip on.
Yeah.
Like, don't
But it
flip on the main
worked.
road, don't flip on a corner block. We're like, yeah, but it's really cheap.
For a reason.
And we just took the plunge. I think we just in that moment went, let's just do it, and we all did it, and we all.
And we treated it as an absolute job. It was our job. It was a business.
Yeah,
It was very serious.
Yeah.
Fun.
And we did it in 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks for the actual renovation with about 6 weeks of planning.
Yeah.
But we did do our first flip in 6 weeks, and I remember
My dad laughed at us.
Yes.
My dad, who had flipped 20, 30 properties his life, and I said, we're going to do it in 6 weeks. And he said, yeah, okay. All right, yeah, no probs. Good on you. Give it a go. Give it a crawl. Good on you. Knock yourself out. And then the day that we went to auction, he just was like, you girls are amazing. That was amazing.
And we just went into it with the pure, like honestly I did, and I'm sure you guys did. We set ourselves a target, and there was no failing. It was 6 weeks. We just knew we would find a way. It wasn't even it wasn't like, can we do it in 6 weeks? And I don't even know why we picked 6. Yeah. Like seriously.
We've heard it could be done in 6.
We've heard it could be done.
So we said we'd do it in
Let's
6. And I
just do
remember that, for whatever day I was there, at one occasion I had to book in the window cleaner for when the house would be finished.
Oh, this is funny.
And I got the window cleaner out, and the property we'd barely started. And I said, could you just give us a quote to clean these windows? And I'm going to book you in for in 6 weeks' time, the house will be finished. He looked around, he laughed. He said, I'm not taking a booking for 6 weeks' time. This house isn't even started. I said, you're coming back in 6 weeks to clean the finished property. He laughed. This is Rukshan. Do you remember Rukshan?
Yeah, he was great.
Rukshan, he came back in 6 weeks, the property was finished, he cleaned the windows, and it went on the market the day we said it would go on the market. And he was honestly astounded that from what he saw 6 weeks prior to quote on to what he came back to, and we'd done it. It's true, failure wasn't an option. We just decided it's 6 weeks. That's
we didn't even think it was possible. So I think that is the doer in each of us that binds us together, really. We didn't doubt each other. We didn't doubt ourselves. We didn't know anything about what we were doing.
We didn't know any better.
In all honesty, to find a window cleaner.
Did you have any debt? Was it all cash in, or
No,
did
it's
you borrow
cash in.
money?
Well, we created our own debt personally. So we mortgaged our own homes.
But you didn't borrow against this particular property?
No, because it's
weren't in a
difficult
position
when you buy it as a company as well.
and you're flipping as well.
We bought it as a company. We bought it as a company, and to do that, when you're a first company sitting out, no one's going to loan you any money with a company with no track record. So we had to front up with the cash.
Yep. So it's a GST play, because obviously you bought it in the company. It was a business of flipping the property. So what a lot of our listeners need to understand is there's two different ways you can do it. You can do it as a hobby, which means that technically there's no GST, there's nothing, no component, and the capital gains. But obviously, if you're in a business, then the profit is what you take off the table once you've done that. So
and we got a lot of advice from our accountants. We certainly weren't clever enough to work that out ourselves, but we went to people who were clever and said, how do we do this? And it was clear that it was going to be a business. We weren't going to pretend it was anything otherwise.
Yeah.
They said, right, well, it is clearly a business, so this is how we'll have to treat it.
Brilliant.
And that's how we did it for the first 5 properties.
Well, that's right, because the ATO will come back and say, 3 or 4 done. So for our listeners
Yes.
who are thinking of
Oh, yeah,
flipping,
you've got to-
and they think, well, just get away with a couple. Well, you might get away with 1 or 2 inside the first 12 months, but they will then circle back to you and say, this seems to be a bit more than
Yes.
just something that's
A
happening
hobby.
ad hoc.
Yeah.
And
so
I think
hence
it
setting
also
up the
depends
business.
if it's a husband-wife couple where the house is in their name versus a company name.
Yeah.
That's a bit more difficult as well. So I think it is a bit different for husband-wife flippers versus people who are not related.
But the only way we could do this, and the only way this business was even going to get off the ground, was that there were 3 of us. Because otherwise we couldn't afford to do it. You know,
Not
so
in the Sydney market.
And it
and
shared,
many
it
others
shared the
now.
financial burden, it shared the emotional burden, it just shared the workload.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend who went and, you know, decided to flip a property kind of on her own, and I felt a bit sorry for her because I just knew how much I shared with these girls, and I couldn't have done it on my own. We needed to share the load in every way. And so that was certainly one of our pieces of advice has been, you know, maybe don't go it alone. If you can have someone go for the journey with you, it really helps.
So on that first property, what were the lessons that you learnt that you brought over to property number 2? What did you nail and what did you...
I've got to kick off with a fail and a learning. And it's about these 2 because I wasn't involved, so it's even more funny. So I'll tell
them
you
under
this,
the bus.
right? Yeah, totally. So we quickly realised that, you know, rendering a whole house is expensive, but it is a lovely way to sort of modernise it. But what we worked out is, you know what, and we checked in with our agent, would it be acceptable if we rendered just the facade, but actually just sprayed the brick or painted the brick, I should say, on the
painted
sides
the
and the
brick
back,
at the
painted the
side.
brick. She said, girls, in this area and the way we can do this, I think that could be okay. And that was a great budget move for us. So I wasn't there one day and these girls started to paint the brick. They had brushes and were pushing it into the mortar. And after 6 hours, they'd done about a 30 centimetre by 30 centimetre square patch. The painter then rocks up and says, girls, what are you doing? He pulls out this spray gun. The whole house is done in about 2 hours. And these girls are like, learning for everyone. If you're going to paint brick, you don't do it with a brush. You get the spray gun out and it transforms it. I mean, we just did a post on Instagram this morning on before and after of house number 1.
Actually, the first house.
Spraying the brick and everyone responds to it. It's one of our best ever tips.
Yeah, it is.
A way to change. There are so many ugly brick houses out there. I mean, there's no shortage of houses needing spraying. Okay, if this is you,
You could
listener,
take all of that
this
to
is you.
Canberra and you'd spend your lifetime out there. I'd probably want to spray every house in Canberra. Sorry for our Canberra listeners.
Well, that's the
Pretty
thing, you know,
ugly,
you're never gonna be stuck for stock for you guys to continue doing what you're doing because there are houses all over Australia that need a bit of TLC.
There's no shortage of ugly houses. And the thing is, you know, and I'm sure once, you know, decades past,
Our houses will be
our
ugly.
houses will be ugly. And there'll be a new futuristic way they're supposed to look. So there's no shortage of supply.
So we're happy to share the numbers because I'm the numbers man. So what do we pay for the property?
Oh God.
We paid $825,
$825.
I think.
And
$885 maybe. $885, $825.
Yeah.
$8.
okay, yep.
No, 820.
I think it was $825.
I actually thought it was 7 something.
No.
It's somewhere
let's
north
not
of
call it.
500. Let's just put that down.
No.
Long time ago, we didn't even ask this, and we got the numbers.
Honesty, I think we paid $825 and you add on all your bits and bobs on top of that, so $850 odd. And we set out to spend 10%.
10%.
Was our plan.
I think
So
we spent
that's
about
a-
90 grand.
And
in the
I was
end.
going to say, in the end, we just went over and we spent 90.
no structural?
No.
bit.
I guess in structural. We
No walls moving, no
took out
extra
a-
bedrooms added.
Yes.
No extension, but we
No,
took out a
walls
wall.
moving, he said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
We
took
took
out
out
some
walls,
walls.
yeah.
Okay, so knock some walls out, put some
Yeah.
plinths in to, okay, good. And then, so what was the configuration when you first, was
We
it a 4,
stayed
2?
with what we had, so
Okay.
3 to 3.
3 to 3?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. We ended
Yeah,
up.
we
What we
just-
did was though we added a ensuite.
Yep.
So we converted the existing bathroom, turned it into an ensuite, and took some space from a long garage to turn that into the main bathroom. So
Yeah,
we
in
had some
fact-
really important decisions to
and
make
what
about
had
where to
happened-
place that.
The home that we bought, and this we see this a lot, that previous owner had been there a long time, and she had converted the original garage into an unauthorised study, and a lot of people do that, and we had to convert it back to the original garage, which was the right thing. And to be honest, to sell the property, we felt it needed a garage, so we did that. and yeah, turned a laundry into a main bathroom.
Yeah.
I think the main thing we did, and the main thing we always do is with these houses is they've always got this pokey little kitchen. And no one wants a pokey little kitchen. So with every house we do, we open up the kitchen so it connects to the living space and to an alfresco area. And all the houses we do don't have that. There was no such thing as alfresco. There was no such thing. It was just out the back door into the Hills Hoist. Out the back door onto the Hills Hoist. And, you know, the house we just did, house number 9, I was just looking at the before shots yesterday, out the back door onto the Hills Hoist.
Yeah.
So it's just creating that connected living, and we did that in our first house.
So have you kept the same rule of thumb, 10% on the reno, or is it case by
That's
case?
been our
for
target.
Each?
It has been our target.
So that's one of your formulas?
It's a good formula to use as a guide, but then there's variations depending on the marketplace. And depending on whether or not you extend. So the extension puts a different slant on it. There's obviously more cost involved. In doing it, you can't expect a 10% spend when you're extending a house.
Yeah, we'd say 10% for sort of a cosmetic reno where you're not really changing the overall footprint of the house. But that number would change when you're changing the overall footprint. But we used to actually prefer to target properties in the early stage that didn't need a big footprint change. That was just quicker, less expensive. And to be honest, in the Hills area that we were doing it in, there were already lots of big houses that had the big enough footprint. They just had a terrible configuration and were awfully outdated. So that was the perfect target for us.
And the comparables that you were looking at on the finished product, how did you go in terms of, you obviously would have done that in the early stages in your research. How did you go on auction day? Did you hit in the price range?
We hit the target we were setting out to achieve. And I would say though to everyone, it is really hard. It's very difficult to find comparable properties. We have found with all the flips that we've done that are relative, because in some of the markets we were in, it was a new thing. You know, in a particular street or area, to present a house to this standard was a new product.
Especially when you're opening up kitchen, bathroom, and that sort of living zone.
And you've got to look further abroad to see where, and really be led by your agent.
I think it's more so just that the suburb needed to have price disparity. You know, so that you weren't buying a house for what we bought it for, $780, but the most you could sell it for was $840.
You need an established benchmark of double in the area.
So we definitely would see that a renovated home with the same configuration could get a price that that would work for us. We always felt that we would produce a more beautiful house, and we tried to, our rule of thumb was we had to turn the house into a house we would be happy to live in. That was our guide.
No, it was magazine
worthy, which is really different for property flippers, because a lot of property flippers have no interest in making it magazine worthy. They're like actually just happy for it beige to be beige if I still get the same price at the end of the day. Our idea was you can do magazine worthy on a budget, and that was our approach. And so there weren't other examples of that in the marketplace. We would never see that in the marketplace. We were the first doing that, and it just held us in good stead. We just wanted to be proud of it. We just actually weren't comfortable putting a house on the market that we thought was a bit average looking.
Were you able to measure that impact of that? Because if you've got someone who's coming in and you in a Sydney market and it's up for auction and you do it, it's magazine worthy, and your style is it's beautiful, but it's also neutral, because you could come into your house, Bonnie, and I could put my own touch on it because it's neutral. Did you find that had a at auction, you're doing your comparables, you're comparing and you're contrasting, which is difficult based on what you did. But as soon as 2 or 3 people wanted to fight out for it, there's a little premium you got based on the finish that you did. Was that something you could measure, or was it just something that you saw in the results?
I think we saw it in the results, but I think we saw it in the number of people that were interested in the property. So when we were renovating, we always did, although we tried to make it beautiful for the masses, so
owner-occupier appeal, create the demand and watch it run.
But I think also it was tricky. There were some properties that we thought were our most beautiful that wasn't as successful on auction day as the one we'd done before. That we didn't think was as beautiful.
Our most financially successful was not the one you'd rate as the most beautiful, but it ticked the most boxes.
Although you loved
Did it have the best location though?
No, I wouldn't even say location. I think it was just appealing to a broader group of people.
So was it the spend, or was it the audience? That's a really great point that you make.
I feel like that particular house had Castle Hill.
What, the second
house? Oh, it's the second one?
Yeah.
I thought Borkham Hills did better than that, house number 5.
Did it? I didn't think it did.
It's like being on an episode, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of arguing
but the
between
only other
yourselves.
But I think with that one too, though, I guess my point is I'm trying to get to tick as many boxes as you can.
We always did that.
If you've got 2 properties, the Hills Market, 4 bedrooms, ensuite, nice bathroom,
Double
separate
garage.
toilet if you can, double garage if you can, a yard for the kids if you
Oh,
can.
know
And
the
then
people
you
you're selling
start
to.
Ticking,
Yeah.
like,
And your real estate agent can tell you
Yeah.
that. But I
Yeah.
also had a bit of a theory that has been unproven.
is this new?
And I don't even know if I've shared this.
Do we
with
know
girls.
about this?
Oh, we're sharing this theory.
Please don't say it. Can you whisper it to me first?
I may well have said this before, I'm not sure, girls, but Bryce is out of water. Do you want mine?
I just asked the Stiggy if she would be able to.
I don't mind sharing.
Let's get some everyone glass for
That'd be lovely.
But no, my theory
Privacy
was
theory.
when there was an auction where, we passed in once at auction and Bonnie was in the fetal position at that moment. And because it's funny, Bonnie felt very differently to auctions than Erin and I, and that's another conversation for another podcast. But I would justify it as I felt like we would have floods of people into the auction. Like you could sell tickets, we could put up a Ferris wheel, fairy floss type of thing. And then on one auction, I was like, but it was all a bit quiet out there. And I felt that there was also a bit of a sense of the house looked so magazine worthy for that suburb. Was there a sense of, am I going to be paying a premium for this? A bit intimidating, a bit like, I've not seen this in my suburb before. I don't want to get ripped off. Am I going to be paying overs?
a block outcome.
There was a little bit, maybe that's it. There was, I think that there was a little bit of that potentially as well. And it just depends on that moment, the buyers, the street, the whatever. But that was a sort of a theory I had at one point that we were just...
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, nice
it was
theory.
too beautiful, it was too good.
Yeah,
It's
I think-
intimidating. People.
I think that's
got
valid.
you.
I mean,
Yeah.
Erin, in terms of the lessons that you learnt from that first
Yeah.
flip, is there any that have stuck through every house? You accidentally stumbled across this thing that worked?
Yes, I would say the biggest one for us, and I'm sure for everyone, is to put enough money aside for landscaping. Whether you're looking to flip a property or it's your forever home, the landscaping comes at the end. So the landscaping is just that
when
part
your
of your
budget is getting
budget.
squeezed right at the end, and you're like, oh,
No sheets
now
on the windows.
Yeah. Now we've got a landscape.
Yeah, and I've even got friends who are building at the moment, and your landscaping budget is just what fuels the crunch.
Oh, Bonnie, yours did.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Have you seen the yard?
Yeah, well,
Well, the instant turf. There's 3 acres of instant.
The share price went up in that lawn company just because you were ordering.
It was so funny when they turfed out here. We had a team, it was part of the price that you got. They laid part of the turf, and it was like little ants running around. It was unbelievable. They turfed like 3 acres in 40 minutes.
yeah, I told Bonnie to do video, because my role in the company is to make sure we capture this and share it with the audience. And I said to Bonnie, make sure you capture the turf, and can you put out the GoPro? I want to see it. She then rang me on the Saturday. She said, babe, it's 7 a.m. They started at 6 and it's almost finished. I was like, what? She goes, I ran out there, but they finished before I'd even brushed my teeth.
I ran out and screamed, stop.
Yeah.
Can you all just stop for a second?
Stop being so
Did you do it again?
Stop being so efficient. But
roll back
speaking
half
of
an
turf
acre.
at that first house, because turf is a great thing. You want to put turf in a property, it transforms it. It was huge in that property. But we tried to save money by literally buying those magic beans that you're supposed to put in the ground that grows turf. I remember, I felt like Jack and the Beanstalk. I was pulling back the dirt. I put the seedlings in. I watered it. I marked a cross on the ground so the girls knew this is where we're growing new grass. Seriously. And we were on a tight timeline. Nothing grew.
No,
it was
nothing
just
grew.
dirt. We were just staring at it days later. I said, I don't think these magic beans work. I'm like, call in.
Getting the lamps. Getting the lamps. 24
Get the
hours.
turf in. So then we had pallets of turf arrive.
We did, and that was a family affair, that one. We had our families came and laid
Rolled
the
some
turf.
turf. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
You haven't lived unless you've rolled some
Erin
buffalo.
and my family
Maybe.
came and laid the turf.
My husband was there. He just didn't do anything.
He had business
Pointed a lot.
meetings
Yeah,
in
he
the
did.
house.
Dirt under his.
He was stretching and putting sun cream on the whole time, but he actually didn't roll out a piece of turf.
Stretching.
He was stretching. And if you know my husband, you'd know why he stretches a lot.
He
but
was
yes.
warming up.
Hey ladies, you mentioned before that one of the things you learnt was you wouldn't do it on your own. If there's a female listening to this right now and they're thinking they were going to do it on their own, obviously you're saying pair up with someone, but is it possible to because Clearly, you guys have built it into something that's really unique and really big, and probably not what you planned on when you first started this, and we'll talk about that shortly. But what's your message to someone listening now who doesn't necessarily want to set up a company, doesn't want to bring it to the level that you guys have, but they certainly want to get involved? What's your core message to them?
Look, I think if you are going to do it by yourself, you need to feel really confident that you can handle the 3 different roles within a renovation, which, you know, first one is budget. So you pretty much need to be an accountant. The second one is the operations of it, which is just the timeline of it. And that's a skill in itself, project manager. And then the third is design. And you need to be able to handle that. And if you feel really confident that you can handle those 3 things, because they're all as important as each other, if one falls down, you know, it doesn't work, I'd say that would be my advice. Do it.
And the great thing is we understand, because this was certainly where Erin and I started out. We didn't have that confidence. We've now created an online renovating school called the Reno School, where we've put every single piece of learning in our brain into a beautiful 6-week online course of downloadable content, videos, templates. We share our budget template, our renovating schedule template, to give these women the confidence that we didn't have to begin with, but we've learnt over time. And we launched that course earlier in the year, and we do sort of, you know, a few intakes a year. We're in the middle of our second intake at the moment. And the feedback we're getting from our students is, I've now got the confidence to go and have this conversation with the tradie. I saw the other day, Erin, someone said, "Oh, Erin, thank you for your tip. I have sent 3 text messages to my tiler reminding him I expect to see him on Monday at 7 a.m. All these little tips. And even from a design perspective, you know, there's a huge amount of content in the Reno School which Bonnie's created around how she designs spaces, which was difficult because Bonnie's never been trained. It's just in her brain and in her heart, and a lot of it's trial and error, which gives our audience confidence to say, you know what, just move that from there to there and see how it looks. Or we just take away some decisions for them, which white to use. They don't need to decide, we sell them. These are our favourite 3 whites. You can't go wrong with them. And our audience goes, thank you, I was going to get that wrong, I didn't know where to start. So for people out there, and there are so many who want to either renovate a home to sell or their own home, which is really probably the masses in the market, is wanting to improve their own home. That's specifically why we designed the Reno School and created it.
And that's predominantly who we're talking to at the moment, is people who, they might just want to renovate their kitchen. It doesn't have to be their whole entire home. It may just be they want to put new flooring through their home, or they may want to do some small snippet. We do the whole entire house in our renovations, but it's just about taking the pieces that appeal to you.
Just get help. If you want to do it on your own, the areas where you have weakness in, my advice was going to be to get, like for me, example, if I did it on my own, I'd get someone to style. Just saying. So if someone was creative and they needed help with project management, lean on your builder more so. Don't take on all those duties.
I think that's a great tip.
Is that okay to not take away
I think
from?
that's fine.
Well, because the thing is, you guys provide the what, but it's ultimately, you know, programs like the Reno School provide you with the how, and that's the missing piece. Because I mean, you know, people listen to our podcast and we give them the what, but quite often they'll put their hand up and say, but how do we implement that? So that seems to be the niche that you guys have found, and I think that's
and you can't explain how to do it in a social media post.
No,
you know, you can't, and that's where we started, was all on social media. But you can't. That platform's not big enough. And like this, the Reno School's 160,000 words. It's like literally, I think that's 50 Shades of Grey. It's that thick. There's that much, right? And
interesting reference.
We're
going with you, mate.
War and Peace,
a mockingbird or something.
And so there is a lot there, and there's still more we could teach. You know, there's still more learnings to give, but there's so much to share. And it took us a long time to create the Reno School. It was a year in the making to actually document it all and to do it in a way that was fun and humorous and beautiful. You know, when you're learning about council approvals, that's a pretty dry topic, but not when you've got love hearts drawn on the page and you've got some pretty stuff there, and a few jokes and a few poorly written gags by myself.
I think the great part, like that exactly for me, having beautiful imagery, having the course look just so gorgeous, because I'm an artistic person and I'm all about design. for me, I went through the pages and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I could do this course because it's so friggin' beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's just, you are learning so much. You know, I was a visual learner at school. So if you're a visual learner, well, this is great for you.
Yeah.
And we were getting asked the same questions over and over.
Yeah.
And so I guess that started planting the seed for how we can enable people to
Yeah.
do what we're doing and then take it down the path they want to go down as well, instead of answering the same question about the why or about how to, talking to your builders or council questions. It's all...
Because it sort of felt a bit wrong to offer all this inspo and inspiration and then just walk away and say, there you go, we just showed you something fab, work out how to do that, and maybe actually start to get quite frustrated or anxious that you don't know how. So it felt like a massive missing link in what we're trying to do, which is literally help women in particular make changes in their homes. We show them the inspo, that's great, we've been doing that for a while now. We had to now show them this is how you do it, hold their hand step by step. And that was a big thing for our company. So that was great when that...
Well, the challenge with Instagram, a good friend of mine uses the analogy that if you've got wool and you put a flame under it, it burns, but as soon as you take the flame away, it stops burning. And so Instagram for you, it needs you to be there to provide that constant inspiration. But then when they're on their own and they've got to make an offer and they've got to deal with council and they've got to give the 3 text messages to the tiler to make sure they turn up, that's when they're on their own.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to provide their own flame. So that's where I see it comes in. Hey, can we talk about your house, Bonnie? Because I'm sure you've had this offer a couple of times, but I think in the video it talks about this is your forever home, you're not moving. But if you are going to move, let me know because my wife wants to buy it. But in terms of...
It's so funny. We were filming and we had a lady and a gentleman walk down the driveway and the house had just finished and they said, oh, look, we're here, we would love to buy the house. And I said, oh, it's not for sale. It's not for sale at the moment. No, I'm not selling, we're not selling.
But in terms of, and for the listeners, Ben, who haven't watched the episode, we'll put a link in. It's fantastic. I mean, they've got some terrific stuff. We'll put a link to the YouTube channel. But there's so much that you had to think about. And I'd be interested to know, on this grand scale, perhaps not, but what is it that the 3 of you do in preparation prior to settling on the property? You've decided that's the one, you put an offer in prior to settlement day. How much prep work goes into it and what does that look like between the 3 of you and how do you pull it all together?
Yeah, look, I think, Lana and I were talking about it just previously. Most of the work happens prior to getting the keys. So you're doing, what would you do?
90% of the work.
Yeah, Erin would do
happens
pretty
prior.
much. I would pretty much design the whole entire house in the 6-week settlement. And it's really important that as part of your, you negotiating the deal of buying the property, that you get access to the property. So Erin and I would go 3 or 4 times and suss out the property. I'd design the property. I'd let Ez know exactly what it was that I wanted to do.
Yep,
she would
take
then
the
get
trades,
quotes.
get quotes for things. Just
During that 6
everything
weeks
ready to
prior
go.
to you getting that key. So then Lana would describe that you would literally open the door and work starts. That day that you get the keys, work starts.
And the council approval process for complying development is really fast, which enables us to be able to do that. So if you work with a local certifier and your draftsman, all the right people, they can enable you to be CDC ready, submission ready. So the minute you exchange, you can put it in, you can be out within a week, like in and out. Not always, certainly not all councils. And there are cases where you can submit your development applications or complying development applications during the settlement phase. There's a level of risk involved in that, and we've actually not ever done that, but you can do that through the lawyers and through the conveyancing and whatnot. But we have just found that pre-planning is crucial, absolutely crucial, to flipping a property, I would say, with the flipping world.
So obviously property is a big financial decision, isn't it? So when you're looking to make these challenging flips, what sort of mistakes have you made? Has there been any sort of biggies that you'd want to share?
Some biggies.
We've made lots of little ones, but I guess nothing that
that's been like really detrimental.
Nothing we couldn't resolve, and I guess that's the big learning for anyone going into flipping properties. You are going to make many mistakes, so if you can't handle making a mistake and recovering from it, it's probably not for you, because we particularly during the renovation, more so than in the planning, but during it, I guess for me as a project manager, many days on site towards the end of the project, it's just about fixing problems.
Yeah, that's all you're doing.
So me turning up on site is finding out what someone's messed up, what someone's not realised, what someone's misinterpreted, something that's gone wrong and how you fix it. And I think that's where we work really well as a team early on in the early days when we were across everything. You know, we'd share, we'd have allocated days we're on site and whatnot, and you know, we'd leave notes for each other and all that kind of thing. It's really, really crucial for people to understand that. Yeah, making mistakes during renovating is normal and it's okay and it's part of
and
it.
surprises, wet areas, plumbing, faults,
well, not being set in
electrical.
your, like if you've got to, like for instance, if you're saying, okay, no, I'm going to blow out that wall, and then you get there and the builder's like, you know what, that's going to cost you an extra $4,000 if you're going to blow out that wall. Being able to change, you know, exactly.
Being fluid, and we do a lot of that. Like particularly, there's a house we did in Borkham Hills where we were all set to go, all ready. We got in the house that demolished it, and Bon and I went one day, and just I'd gone in the morning, and then she came, and we're looking around and we're looking at each other like, I think we need to move the bedroom down there. And she's like, I think so too. And so just that instant change, and you know, it's just being able to roll with the changes.
Yeah, you've got to be able to roll with changes.
Yeah, but there's never been anything that was a disaster, which is quite amazing if you look at it. Well, you know, without the experience, we had no experience. We did 5 flips. There were no disasters. You can definitely say there was no, well, that was a disaster. You know, write that off, write off that house. That never happened, which I think should be, you know, quite encouraging to people that it's not, you know, disasters around every turn. They're all problems that you should be able to solve. So,
but I think for everyone would need to recognise too that some of the things that we did wrong or the errors we made could in fact be disasters for other people. So I think...
and how they look at them?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So for example, we had pebbles delivered to the first house we did. It was 2:30 on a school day, for example, and the truck arrived with all the pebbles that were meant to go for the landscaper the next day, and they were wrong. So they were dumped, a ton of them on the driveway, and then Bon and I looked and were like, they're not the right ones. We'd ordered them. We'd made the mistake. That's why they were wrong.
There's the first clue.
It was our error, and then we had just like, we have to fix this. We can't. So we had kids to pick up, we had stuff to do, and so we shoveled them back into the truck.
I was so fit that first house. Like seriously fit that first house.
But that kind of stuff could frazzle a lot of people. And we just had to find a solution.
Too, because what we normally do is we favour the things that we're good at.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to sort of pick out some good things. I'm terrible at design as well, so I'm not. That's not right for me.
I can confirm that.
Yeah. That's look at the way I'm dressed.
Picture is the design.
Yeah. Look at the hair. Look at the whole thing's just not right. Okay. The point I'm trying to make there is.
What's your point?
Is that you would normally gravitate to the things you're good at. You know, now if you're a single operator, you're going to give up on some of these other things. I'll pick the paint later. I'll pick this stuff. Oh, what? There's a 14-week delay on that particular material.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm stuffed.
Yes.
You know, so that formula is so that's where we see the horrors. And I've just gone through a big renovation myself for a year and a half, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. In terms
you should have
of
called the girls in, mate. It would have been done.
Oh,
it would have been done.
geez,
Would have been done in 6 weeks.
If you weren't based here and you were based in Melbourne, I would have called in for the emergency, fix this problem.
But Erin, you were saying earlier that if you are on your own, and even if you did something like the Reno School, where you don't have a natural aptitude for, you can lean on other people to help.
Totally put your hand up and help. If you have, if you're really great in that design world, lean on your builder and trades more so. You might put your hand up and say, I don't want to project manage at this at all. I want my builder to run it, and I'm just going to work off with him, for example. Or even selling your properties. If you're flipping, if you really don't have the interest, you think you don't have the skill level or anything for selling your house,
styling.
I mean selling it. When you get to that point of selling it, some people think that they know what they're doing and they're really in control. Some people also feel really overwhelmed. Make sure you lean on the people you have helping you. So if you're good at things operationally, get someone with the style design to help you.
Understand your weaknesses.
Understand them and recognise them. And I think that's why the three of us work really well, because we do understand and recognise our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, Lana's got lots of weaknesses.
I wasn't going to go there.
I was sitting like this.
Oh, you're ready to go.
He comes with a compliment.
Well, we can relate to that. I mean, Ben and I are pole opposites. Ibis makes us look good, but we've got 55 staff in our business, and it's the biggest shift for me was a mental frame, and I think it's what you were talking about before, where I was constantly thinking that it would be clear water, whereas now I just think, I don't want to be out in the rough, heavy surf, but I'm constantly expecting white water. So when I walk into the office, I go, what white water am I going to deal with today? because something's going to
That's
come.
a really nice way to look at it.
And it's white. That totally goes in with our brand.
That's totally visual for
Bonnie,
you,
white
isn't
water
it?
at House 9 today with what we were talking about earlier this morning. It's just white water.
White water, it's lovely. It's very calming.
I'm chuffed, Ben. I am chuffed. If they take that away, I'm chuffed.
We are taking
Constant white water in renovating. So, hey, in terms of, I want to frame this right, but in terms of, where you are now, I'm sure you command respect that you didn't have back in the early days when you were building. And I'm sort of going along the line of dealing with builders, boys club, women dealing with builders. What's your advice to our female listeners who may come up with some of that discrimination? How did you? I
don't think we ever came up with discrimination. I think it was more so there was uncertainty with a trade that we knew what we were talking about. And in the early stages, we didn't.
No,
and
I said that to them.
Yeah,
I think that's the key.
And that's the key to being really open and honest with them, to say, look, not quite sure. But then there's the flip side where I understand where people would then be really hesitant to do that because they feel like they're then going to get screwed by the trade.
Yeah.
It's a balance,
It's
isn't
a
it?
real balance of just being able to manage a situation, and the key to obviously not getting screwed is to get 3 or 4 quotes.
Yeah, get your quotes. I think treat the trades as you want them to treat you, with respect and with kindness and courtesy. And we have not had an issue setting expectations.
How many have you sacked on the journey?
The first landscaper, he was about 12. I don't know if he was underage child labour. All I'm saying is...
So his quote was good?
He wasn't he was the cheapest, and we'll teach you in Reno School that, you're going to pay peanuts and you get monkeys, and this poor, God love him, but he apparently had finished the landscaping job, and I came out to the front garden expecting something that was quite impressive, going to wow the buyer, street appeal, oozing street appeal. And it looked like some onion weeds, some like leek or something that has gone off in your kitchen, had actually been put into the ground. And I took a photo and sent it to Bonnie, who was actually holidaying in Byron Bay at the time, even though we were just trying to finish our first ever reno.
Going on holiday.
Yeah, she was in Byron Bay. And wait for it, with Erin.
It was an annual family holiday.
That'll serve you for your husband not doing any of the heavy lifting earlier
I was
on.
at so I sent a picture to the girls and said to Erin, Bonnie, because I had no idea, is this the way the garden bed should look? And Bonnie got on the phone, no, there is absolutely nothing there. And so I had to tell this landscaper, I said, there doesn't seem to be enough plants here. In fact, they look like dead shallots. Okay, you've planted shallots. Could we somehow get something that's upright? And he sort of looked and said, I don't think there's money in the budget for that. I said, well, you did quote on a garden. That's not a garden. And so the poor, he had to go back. I had to basically say, you've got to put this here, put that there. But that just didn't work out. And we've since got great landscapers that we've used in a lot of properties.
And we do. We've done so many now that we've got a great team that we work with.
And then there was Dusty Derrick.
Dusty Derrick.
So again, we went for price. This was house number 2. He quoted on doing the gyp rocking. Gyp rocking and plasterboarding needs multiple hands. It's it's heavy stuff.
Poor guy.
Bonnie's brother actually is good at that as a trade. And Bonnie said to her brother, "Oh look, this one guy, he's given us a great quote." And her brother was like, "I don't know how one guy can get it done in that time at that price." We just said, but Derek said he could. 6 weeks later, Derek is covered in dust, head to foot. Almost can't see him. He's like the snowman. And he's sleeping overnight in the renovation.
There a few nights.
There because we just kept working.
Know,
but
we're not sure.
Not confirmed.
Unconfirmed. Definitely unconfirmed because it would not be
occupation.
I think the point of this story is the hard conversations that have to be had. I have to have them.
Bonnie let Derek go. And then we called in a crack squad of gyp rockers who seriously, a van came down the road. The van opened up like a bank robbery. 6 gyp rockers jumped out, ran into the house. The car hadn't even stopped.
Did you catch it on film?
No. We went filming.
Where was the GoPro? Where was the GoPro?
We didn't know to capture that on film. They ran into the house. By the time we got to the front door, they had finished sanding the whole house and left. That's how you do it.
That was brilliant.
They were amazing, and so we learnt from that. And you know, the other thing,
Yeah.
and I keep thinking of it, and then you girls just keep raving on, and I can't get this point in.
Okay.
But this point I want to make is a lot of people are daunted or think that they have to do tasks DIY.
Yes.
Meaning they have to paint themselves, they have to do things themselves to save money and get a result. You don't. And the truth is we lean on experts and professionals and trades to do the work. And that's the reason we get through the workload we do and do what we do. Because if it was up to us to actually be doing literally the heavy lifting, painting ceilings, painting walls, it would be upsetting, tiring, exhausting. It would take a very long time. That's why some people's renos never finish.
Then you'd be on the Channel 9 series.
Well, exactly. And that's not fun. You see what happens. It's very stressful, and that's just not the life we wanted to be part of. And so the one thing I'd say to your listeners is don't feel that you have to do that to get a great profitable result for either your home or an investment property. Lean on, pay people to do it. Get 3 quotes, still manage your budget tight, but don't run around trying to DIY everything, because it will actually
You'll burn out.
You'll burn out, you'll burn through your money anyway, it'll take too long and you'll never get to enjoy the property.
So is there anything within the building project that you do outside of your core competencies, except put paint sort of samples on the front brick wall, but no, just good?
No, we hire
That's-
professionals for
It's good
everything.
to know.
Yeah, we did
do.
lay turf the first time. Again, when these
Yeah.
two girls were in Byron sunning themselves, I laid 40 square metres on my own in 40-degree heat.
And just to reiterate, that's because her husband didn't do it.
Yeah, but I still did it. So we did do it. And like in our first flips, we were taking fly screens off ourselves. I bought a drill. I don't think we ever used it after the first house. I don't know where that is.
Don't worry,
But-
Bonnie's got 4 boys, hand it over.
That's right.
No, but I think, like, to go back a little step is, I think if there's anything you can do, it would be planting a plant.
Yes.
Landscaping.
Yeah, soft scaping.
Softscaping,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. My husband planted, however many plants here.
Yeah.
And it saved us a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Soft scaping is something you can do.
Yeah.
And
So,
I think I'd only add in there the one other thing where you can get involved and save a bit of money is going and sourcing and buying your own
Yes.
fixtures and fittings.
Yes.
So that's certainly something with flipping that I would encourage doing.
Yep.
Shop around, like with your trades. If you're getting your tiling done, you get your quotes, you get your tilers in. Shop around for all your tiles, your grout, your your taps, your bath, everything like that. So that's where you can really get your hands dirty. But as far as on site doing it, leave it to the experts where you can.
Good tip, Ben.
Great tip.
Final one for me. I
got
don't
a
know if you've
couple.
got a closing
I got
one
a
out. Oh,
couple,
okay,
yeah,
good. So I won't close it off then. But
Well, he hasn't even, the poor
Started.
bugger. No one's asked a question. All we've done is talk.
which is
the way we love it.
That's exactly why we
In
knew
a
we were
conversational style.
Yeah,
Okay.
but in terms of you've done one. Have you girls got to a scale now where you would contemplate doing multiple projects at one time, or is that not
No,
part
we
of your?
do that now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we share it with our audience one at a time,
Yep.
just again to give it to them in digestible pieces where they can go on the whole journey of a home. But for us to do that as frequently as we want, we need to have a few projects going at once. They also might be of different duration. If Bonnie's house takes a year, we didn't want to just work on Bonnie's house. We wanted something else going as well. So we have been overlapping, and that's why House 9 is almost finished, even though we've also just finished Bonnie's because we had that in the works.
Yeah, and then we've got 2 other projects on the horizon at the moment that are just starting.
Nice.
So
Yeah, it's that
everything's
planning
overlapping.
period.
Yeah.
So we've sort of started to document a funnel of stages from planning through to sharing with our audience. And at any one time, you've got multiple projects in a certain stage of that funnel.
Which is smart. And I mean, when you were doing each other's dream house, was that an interesting dynamic? Because when you're doing a neutral house, there's an equal say. When you're doing someone's dream house, you are the minority shareholder.
Yeah, well, let's
Well, it's
just
probably
be clear.
different for your
Let's just
house.
be clear. When we're doing a house that no one owns, there's no equal say. It's Bonnie's say, and that's truly true.
That's how it
She's not denying it either.
It's same in her house.
And it's making money for you. So you probably keep
All right.
it
It
up.
is,
So in
and
Bonnie's dream house, it felt normal. But what about your dream
yeah.
house?
Well, it was tricky. In my dream house, I think though that because we did my house as number 6, I had come on such a dramatic journey personally from house 1 through to 5 that I'd learnt so much from Bonnie.
Well,
that basically-
Lana's joke at the beginning of us starting the company was that she could literally not even pick a pillow.
Yeah, could not pick a cushion.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But by the time, I remember at house 3, we did this void with a staircase, and I thought, wow, and it made me think differently about my home. By the time we got to doing my home, we had such a similar aesthetic in mind, and working with the property and the style that was already very Mediterranean, it was actually, we were very much on the same page. But we had a few arguments. I wanted floor-to-ceiling mirror in one area, and Bonnie said, well, she held an intervention.
Yeah,
actually.
I did.
She held an intervention with Erin. They ganged up on me.
But it wasn't pre-planned. She just knew my view complemented hers, so it actually wasn't planned.
We caught
She
this on
sprang it
film.
on it.
It was a
She sprang it on me
spontaneous
as well.
intervention.
It was
We caught this on
spontaneous
film, and the funny
pre-planned.
thing is, I knew it was an intervention before the words came out of her mouth, because she said to me, we were upstairs, and it's on our series, I think episode 2 or something, and she said, Lana, just about that wall, and these were the words out of my mouth, no. She said, honestly, I said no. She goes, I'm having an intervention. You can't put a mirror floor to ceiling on that wall. It doesn't suit the house. I said, but I want to reflect the water and the view and this. She said, but Lana, your vision is Mediterranean. It needs to be chalky. It needs to be white. That is reflective and modern.
Sharp and modern.
And I fought it for a while. I really fought it. But she was right. And I now have just a beautiful small painting on that wall. It's all chalky and white. And she was right, but that was the only real difference of opinion we had. Otherwise,
if we ever do Erin's dream home,
When? Let's hope we say when.
Yeah, what's gonna happen there?
We're in the market there.
Erin's going to go away for a long time, and she's not having any say.
That's
in
not
her
what she
dream
told me.
home.
That's not what she told me the other week.
I thought she was going to send me away for a long time to plan it. 'Cause you know, it takes me a long time to make decisions. Bonnie would be like, I'm thinking of these tiles. I'd be like, I don't know.
Erin's going to go on a long holiday.
I don't know
and then
about
she's gonna
them.
come back.
See, there's this beautiful challenge between the two of these, where Erin is such a practical designer, and Bonnie is driven so much by aesthetics that there might be a big Barney about whether or not there's a PowerPoint or not. Where Erin will say,
not practical.
Bonnie, I need PowerPoint. She'll go, yeah, but they're so ugly. so there's this constant challenge between the two of team looks good versus team works well. I'm getting shirts made up for them. It's like Team Aniston and Team Jolie.
Oh, I need PowerPoints. Come on.
Come on.
All right, so I've got a couple back to the numbers. Have you ever thought about keeping one?
Yes.
Yes,
We did a lot.
a lot.
We've been back and forth with the accountant, the solicitor, amongst ourselves. I can't even remember why we didn't, but we didn't.
No, we didn't, because I think what
our
if we
business
wanted
model
to
had
keep
changed
creating new properties to share, we just
You needed
couldn't
the
afford
funds,
it.
yeah.
We needed the money.
Yes.
We couldn't have a
Yep.
property, so we just needed the money.
But down the track, that would
But
be something.
it can be done.
Yep,
We
it
saw
comes
the
into
model for it,
consideration.
and we
Yep.
really looked into it, and we gave it a lot of consideration, and we thought about, the buy, hold,
Yep.
work off the equity of that, buy the next one,
Yep.
and it just would have restrained our plans.
But our model
for
has
our
changed
business.
now, though, so we don't.
You may be able to do something like that in the
well,
future.
well, no, we don't really flip homes anymore.
We don't really want to.
No, so we do a lot of client work now.
Okay.
Yeah, so the homes that are kind of popping up in the near future are all client work.
Right.
It just takes a lot of money. Just to buy a property, you can't buy a property for under $1 million nearby. You
Well, the
just
point
can't.
is
Then
it's
you've
a
got to
changing
renovate
market.
it. It's just
Like you've done well out of a moving market,
Yeah.
but when you've got a flat market, you've absolutely got to nail it.
You do.
You do, and you have to do
terms
it very quickly in a flat market,
Yeah.
because even if you buy in a soft market, okay, great, you got it for a good price, but you're going to sell in a soft market, so you got to. I mean, you could wait and get it in the high, but if you buy high, you certainly don't want to let it drop off. So that was one of the things we learned early, was reduce our risk by buying and selling in the same market through doing shorter cosmetic renovations. But when we're now more focused on helping other people change their homes, so our focus has changed. We're about others.
Well, let's hope my wife doesn't hear this podcast, Ben, because that's going to be very, very, very dangerous for me. Yeah. The safety's in Melbourne, but
Terrific.
yeah. Well, it's been a joy. I think we could. I think it's fair to say that we could keep on going. But you girls have been a terrific success. The series, if anyone hasn't watched it, they should go and check it out on YouTube. Ben, we'll put the link in the notes. But thanks for inviting us into your home, Bonnie,
problem,
so we
anytime.
can see this. And we thank you for you girls being so transparent with the business and the art of renovating. And we look forward to seeing House 9 soon.
Yeah,
And,
September.
September.
Have you announced the location or anything yet?
No, we haven't.
Ooh, you've kept it
We
all
haven't, but
under
we've gone
wraps.
back to our roots, is what we'll say.
Oh, okay.
So we've gone back to where it all sort of began, that area.
Oh,
Very good.
very good. That's
That's enough. That's enough for people. That's enough for them to tune in.
little scoop there.
That's
So
it.
Thanks,
terrific. Well,
guys.
best of luck,
Thank
and
you, guys.
thanks for having us.
Yeah, it
Thanks
was
so
lovely.
much.
Thank you.
Wow, mate, we didn't get much to say, but gosh, we just get out of the way. These girls know what they're talking about.
They do. They've got their course, so they're passing on all of their knowledge. The videos are hilarious. They're very funny girls. As I said, they don't take themselves too seriously, but the content is rich. Like there's lots of gold nuggets inside. Planning, preparation, sign the contract, get in early, renovate quickly if you're going to flip. All the good stuff.
Plan.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what you'll get from that interview, Ben, is they don't take themselves serious, as you said. They're funny. They have a lot of fun. But they are very, very smart girls.
Yeah.
They've put together a very, very good operation.
Yep.
And they know what they're talking about. So they get the blend right.
Yeah.
They don't treat life too seriously, but when it matters...
and they're doing stuff they love. I mean, they've been able to work it around their family lives and, very busy people, lots going on in their world, and they just get it done.
So a very special thanks to the girls for inviting us up.
Congratulations, ladies. It was phenomenal.
And for Bonnie letting us into her home.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a television studio, it was her home.
Yeah.
And we appreciated doing that. Hey, my life hack today, Ben, is, again, there's a theory or there's a trend here. I'm always doing stuff that I use, right? So I'm obviously an iPhone user. But I've discovered, and I don't know if you know this, Ben, but when you're actually using an iPhone and you need to correct a mistake, you normally have to hold your finger down, it does a little magnifying circle, and then you have to move your finger.
Yes.
So that can be a little bit frustrating, a little bit tricky.
Yep.
The alternative to that is when the keyboard comes up on the screen, put your finger down and hold it down, and then you can move your finger around the keyboard and it moves the cursor all around the screen to where you need it. It's like a fast track to where you need to go quickly.
Wow.
So I showed
So we might
Ives the
need
other
to make
day.
a little video of that because it's not easily explained, but I get what you're saying because you showed me.
Yes.
Which was good.
Well, we can do a video, Ives, can't we, somehow?
Little video on that.
Ives is just going, oh no,
More
by
work?
3 o'clock today. But it's a great little life hack. We might even use her Samsung to record my iPhone, so we've got to get something in for
That's
everyone.
it. Oh, we get the Android listeners in.
We get the
circle everyone in.
Don't do anything for the Android listeners. But there you go. That's my life hack. Ben,
Did you know, Bryce?
did you know?
Did you know?
Uh-oh.
And this is, I was trying to get this into our conversation with the girls, but
No chance.
no chance. I did circle back with Erin at the end of it. And I said, do you know how big the renovation market is in Australia? And she said, no. We had a bit of a guess and it was a bit of fun afterwards before we did our Facebook Live. So people might be thinking, I don't know, maybe, $1 billion, $2 billion?
That was my answer, $1
Yeah,
billion.
you were $1 billion. Bryce,
Ben.
according to the ABS and Master Builders Association,
Oh, that's authority.
this year we will spend over $9 billion on renovations and home improvements.
Wow.
$9 billion. Now, to put that into context, that's $173 million a week
Wow.
on renovations across our nation. Who says we don't love property in this country? We absolutely
It's a
love
sport.
it. And it is a sport, and those girls know how to play the sport.
I like it, Ben. Good analogy, good stats. I like that. So I was well off. I said 1, it's 9. So there's a piece of pie for anyone out there.
And it's
who's-
growing.
Yeah.
Growing big time.
Well, mate, there's a lot of ugly houses across Australia
Yep.
that need
yep.
work.
Well,
Don't say,
and
don't say anything about
apologies
Canberra.
for our friends in Canberra. I probably, that was a low, that was a low blow.
Have
so
we
I
said,
apologise.
we had someone write into us, didn't us, and say, hey, thanks for keeping all the riff-raff out. So you've helped.
Yeah, owner-occupier appeal. Move on.
So that was good, mate. Did you know? Now, before we sign off for today, Ben, I just want to remind everyone to go to thepropertycouch.com.au, download the Money Smart system if you haven't. You will receive an email from us with the simple system, implement it straight away, and you'll also get notifications of everything we've got upcoming. If you haven't been to Facebook, go and check that out, Ben. But until next week,
Knowledge is empowering, Bryce, but only if you act on it.
see you later.